Hello and welcome back to Southside Miniatures. Today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making a simulated wooden floor for my Tudor house in the big room. What we're going to do is we're going to make it out of offcuts of old card and some paint, and I'll show you how that's done. So if you join me down at the table, I will show you how we make a start. Right, first of all, you need to get some card and cut out the shape of your floor in the room that you want to do. I've cut this one to the size of the room. It's quite a big room, so I've had to use two pieces. I've stuck them together on the back with a bit of masking tape, so that's okay because once I've got all my flooring on there, it'll all hold together. And this is a cutout where the stairs are going to come up. So that's my template for my floor. Then after that, I just got all the odd bits of card that I could find, and I cut them into strips for me wooden planking. So I've cut loads of them there. So what I'm going to do is I've got one left to cut if I can find it. What have I done with it? Here we go. Here it is. Right. What I've done them is 11 centimeters long. So I cut a bit of the old card, 11 centimeters long there, and then I divided them into 1 centimeter strips. So I'm going to cut these 1 centimeter strips, put my ruler on the marks that I made, 1 centimeter across, and just cut my wooden planks. So I've got them all the same size to start with. There we go. I've had to cut quite a lot of these because it's a big room, but hopefully if you ever decide to do this on yours, it won't be so time consuming. But this is just a cheap way of making a wooden floor, so hopefully it will turn out all right, and we'll oh, one more, and then that's done. That's it. And these can go in the pot with the rest of them. Right, now I've cut all my pieces there. Look, I've got quite a few, so that's good. I've got my template, so we're going to start gluing on the planks now. So I've got some PVA glue here, and I'm just going to spread it along. Spread it along on my flooring, and then start sticking on my card planks. So the first one we'll just stick in the corner there. Make sure it's level with the front. So that's the first one. And we carry on going along. Sticking our pieces of flooring on. Like so. I think we've got probably 1.5 more on this line of planks. So, and I've got a smaller bit at the end there. I did cut some a little bit smaller. I'll just poke that one on the end. And then when you come to the second line, what you want to do is find the halfway point. So measure your plank there, that's 11. So if I make a little pencil mark at 5.5, that's the center point there of my plank. So I want to start my second row. Let's just get some of these out. I want to start my second row halfway there. Doesn't matter if it hangs over. I'm going to let it hang over the end there, because then it's easy to cut them off at the end. I just turn it over and cut them all off. So I start that one halfway. So then when I come to the next one, I'll have the join on the row below halfway in the plank. So you've got to keep going, and you've got to cover the whole floor with these bits of wood. Well, they're not wood, they're bits of card, but they will look like wood eventually, hopefully. But I just find it's a nice, cheap and easy way. You could use coloured card, you can use, you know, anything you wanted, really. You know, if you've got some brown card, or you've got some, you know, I don't know, maybe cream coloured card. I mean, you could do wooden floors in quite a few different colours. So as long as you've got plenty to cover your floor. Yeah, as I say, if you've got plenty to cover your floor, that's fine, you know. Or you could do two different colours. You could, you know, use your imagination and just make it up as you go along. Find a nice, cheap and effective way of making a nice floor. So what I'm going to do, and then the third row, you start exactly the same as the first row. So that one looks a bit wide. So start from the end of the card there and just stick that down. Lovely. The reason I'm just putting a little bit of PVA glue on at a time is because if you put too much on, it soaks into the paper and it dries too quickly. So you'll only end up having to go over it again. So I'm just doing enough for one plank at a time, or maybe two, but no more, because otherwise we'll end up having to do it all over again anyway. So we take that right to the end. That's it. Get some more of my planks. Lovely. When will I use these are, I didn't cut these right, I don't think. These are from an old job, so I just use one of these because these are all the same size. Pop that on the end there. And then, as I say, we can trim it all off afterwards. That's it, lovely. Next row. So each alternate row, if you just stagger your planks, and then you should be fine. This is going to take me some time, I think. So this one here, I need to do in line with the second row and just get my plank in the middle there, and then put that one overhanging, and we'll cut that off afterwards. There we go. Right, I'm just going to do one more row here, and then what I'll do is I'll go off camera and I'll continue on with this, and then we'll come back and do the next step, and I'll show you then. We'll put all the little nail marks in and stuff. So there we go. I hope you can see this. I know it's quite difficult to see because it's all the same colour. It doesn't matter if it's not actually perfect, because in the old Tudor houses, the way I see it is that their floors weren't exactly the best. So a little bit raggedy, it doesn't really matter. There we go. Right, so I'm going to stop that there now, and I'm going to carry on and finish off the rest of the floor, putting these planks on, and then I'll come back to you and show you the next step after that. Right, I've finished putting my planks on, and what I've done is I turned it over and I trimmed off all the edges. So that's what it looks like now. I hope you can see that effect there. So now what we've got to do is we've got to put some nail holes in the planks. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use an awl, which is just got a pointed tip on it. You can use anything with a pointed tip, just to make your holes. I'll start on this corner here, and I'm going to put 2 holes in each end of each plank. So I'll just push down and make the dents for the nails, and then I can show you what that looks like. Let's just do a couple, and then you can see what effect it has. I'll lift that up and you can see the holes there, and there at the end of each plank. So that will give it the effect that it's got nails in there, and you do that all over. And once we've done that, then we can just paint the floor. So I'll carry on doing this for a little while, get this done, and then we can start painting. Right, that's all my little holes punched in there. I'll just lift it up and show you. You can see all the little holes that I've put in there for the nails. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it, and I'm going to paint it with acrylic paint. But what I've done is I've put a drop of water in the acrylic paint because it's quite thick and quite hard to put a cover on. So cover of paint on. So I've watered it down just a little bit, just to make it a little bit runnier. And then I'm going to use a small roller, pop it on the edge of the table there so I don't get any on the table. And then, right, and I'm going to put, this is the first time I've ever put it on with a roller. I did put the last one I done, I did put it on with a paintbrush. But I'm hoping that the roller will be just as successful. So making sure that you get paint all in them little holes that you dug out. So that's going on quite nicely, actually. I need a little bit more paint on there on my roller. That's it. But you don't know white bits showing through. And I think that looks like wooden flooring. I don't know what you think, but I think it's well worthwhile, cheap way of getting wooden flooring done for your for your nice home, whether it be a Victorian house or a Tudor house or even a modern house. It wooden floors never go out of fashion, I don't think. Let's just move this so that I got it on the other edge of the table so I don't get paint all over the table. Actually, yeah, I'll do that edge first. There we go. Fill in all them little holes. And now I'll turn it around so that I can get the other side. Make sure I've filled in all my holes. That's it. Let's turn it around. There we go. It's quite quick and easy to do, really. I found doesn't take too long, and it saves an awful lot of money. And get all them white bits gone. That's it. That's it. Just give it another little once over just to make sure it's all covered. There we are. Nice. I'm quite pleased with that. Right, I'll just lift it up and show you what it looks like. Right, I know it's still wet, but once it dries, I hope it'll look okay. And there's our wooden floor. Right, that's the wooden floor covered now. I used burnt sienna acrylic paint for this. As I say, you can do it in any colour you choose, really, you know. But what I found is, like, as I've covered it, because the paint is wet, obviously the card has just started lifting in a couple of places, but as it dries, that will shrink back, and that should lay flat, so that's fine. And if you want to give it another coat afterwards, you can do, but that'd be my wooden floor that I can put in my room now. So I'm quite pleased with the way that's turned out. Right, this is the floor that my flooring's going to go into. This is the room. I'm going to wait for the room to dry thoroughly before I stick it down, and then in the next video that I do, what I'm gonna put the flooring in, and I'm going to start dressing the rooms. So please join me for that. Right, so that's this video concluded. Thank you very much for watching. Please join me in the next one where, as I say, I'll be dressing the room and sticking the floors in and doing a few other bits and pieces. But it's been nice to have you with us. Thank you very much. Hope you got some good tips and good ideas from what I've done today. And please subscribe, press that like button, and join us on the journey of making the Tudor house. And obviously my husband's doing the Victorian house and the Munsters mansion. So please join us for those. It's been nice seeing you again, talking to you again. So thank you very much again for watching, and bye for now.